Chapter 8. The Bhagavad Gita has a subsidiary title, the Book of Devotion. Each of its chapters, with the exception of the first one, treats of devotion by some particular means, so the preceding chapters may be regarded as leading up to the highest form of devotion through the various forms adopted by mankind. The 8th chapter is entitled Devotion to the Omnipresent Spirit, named as AUM. This title is a key to what follows in the chapter, as well as a summation of what is contained therein. The Western mind may find a difficulty in grasping the idea of devotion to that which is everywhere, for the common acceptation of the term implies an object to which one may devote himself. Here, however, devotion is shown to be a quality inherent in the one who perceives, and not in any object seen, and is therefore applicable universally as well as in particular. The deepest thinkers, ancient and modern, hold that which reasons is higher than reason, and similarly that which perceives, forms, and acquires knowledge is beyond all form, and is not limited to or by any degree of knowledge. The sages declare and show that all limitations are self-imposed and impermanent. Hence they speak of the manifested universe as the great illusion produced by a general and temporary sense of separateness on the part of the beings involved. Their efforts at all times have been directed towards aiding the advancing intelligence of mankind to a truer realization of the essential nature of all beings, from which alone can come perfection in knowledge and hence the highest happiness. The omnipresent spirit, named as AUM, refers to the one spirit which animates all worlds and beings. Another expression for the same idea is the self of all creatures. And in the present chapter, Krishna begins his reply to Arjuna by saying, Brahman, the Supreme, is the exhaustless. These terms, and many others used, are but different ways of conveying the same idea. An aid to comprehension may be had if it is realized that the power or ability to perceive is common to all creatures, and that it includes all that the abstract terms spirit, life, and consciousness imply. In fact, the Bhagavad Gita cannot be understood unless it is studied upon the basis that which lives and thinks in man is the eternal pilgrim, and that he is wise indeed who sees and knows that all spiritual beings are the same in kind and differ only in degree. As has been before stated, Krishna stands for the higher self of all beings. Therefore, all the discourses under his name are to be taken as addressed to all men, and not merely as from one personage to another. It will then be understood that when he speaks of my being manifesting as the individual self, Purusha, the spiritual person, or myself in this body, he refers to the constituents of each human being. Karma is the emanation which causes the existence and reproduction of creatures. Perhaps this sentence may be made more clear if the student takes into consideration the ancient aphorism that there is no karma unless there is a being to make it or feel its effects. Karma means action, and as each being or creature acts according to his own degree of perception and feels the reaction or effect in the same relation, karma as a whole, insofar as any world or system of worlds is concerned, is the interaction of all the beings of every grade who constitute or are connected with any such world or system. Karma, therefore, is inherent in all beings and is not self-existent as such or imposed by any imagined originator of worlds. Krishna shows that the realization of immortality must be had during life in the body, if the higher state is to be attained. This state reached, the necessity for reincarnation ceases. Those, however, whose beliefs are strongly fixed on some particular form of after-death existence have a realization of what they aspire to, and then in the fullness of time are reborn upon earth. The meditation spoken of as necessary to the highest attainment is sometimes called a lifetime's meditation. It means that the immortality of man has first to be assumed, and then rigidly adhered to as the basis for every thought and action, for it is only in this way that a realization of immortality can be obtained by embodied beings. As it is from the spirit in man that all law and power proceeds, each human being creates his own limitations on every plane of being. He can transcend those limitations only by reverting to and maintaining his immortality, as the observer and experiencer of all the passing changes, himself unchanged and unchanging. Throughout the dialogue, Krishna speaks of the various paths of devotion taken by men. Most of these paths are taken in order to obtain some coveted reward, such as freedom from rebirth, enjoyment of the individual's ideal of happiness after release from the body, individual salvation. He shows that all these rewards may be obtained by constant effort, but that all are temporary in duration, necessitating a return to earthly existence at some later period, however remote. The Brahmacharya, laboring for salvation, labors for himself alone. He goeth to the supreme goal, but in that state is beyond the power of helping his fellow men. Although he may remain in that blissful state for an immense period of time, the duties to his fellow men which he sets aside in order to obtain salvation for himself will inevitably place him where those duties have to be faced and fulfilled. The case of such an one is quite different from those great-souled ones who have attained to supreme perfection in knowledge and universal duty. All worlds up to that of Brahma are subject to rebirth again and again. In the section beginning with these words, Krishna is pointing out the law of periodicity which prevails in every department of nature. This is more fully explained in The Secret Doctrine by H.P. Blavatsky, Volume 1, in that part referring to the three fundamental principles. Briefly stated, our present earthly existence is the result of previous ones. The present Earth is the result of previous Earths. The present solar system is the result of previous ones. All of these present progress of some sort, for the essence of progress is change. All beings have evolved to their present status, be that high or low, and all are still evolving. An infinite universe presents infinite possibilities. But, says Krishna, there is that which upon the dissolution of all things else is not destroyed. It is indivisible, indestructible, and of another nature from the visible. This is the divine spark of spirit, life, and consciousness in every form and being. In man it is called the perceiver, that which sees, learns, and knows, apart from all objects, circumstances, or conditions through which it passes. This supreme, O son of Pritha, within whom all creatures are included, and by whom all this is pervaded, may be attained by a devotion which is intent on him alone. To act for and as the self in every state under all conditions and in every circumstance is the highest path and leads to the highest goal. It is the path of duty in its highest aspect. I will now declare to thee, O best of the Bharatas, at what time yogis, dying, obtain freedom from or subjection to rebirth. Yogis are those who strive for union with the higher self. All do not succeed in any one life, so some are subject to rebirth. Krishna indicates the conditions of planets and seasons in the several cases of departure. It would appear from the specific statement above quoted that the indications mentioned do not apply to those whose thoughts are based upon material existence, and that in such cases other indications apply. It may be of interest to consider in this relation the declaration of the ancient sages that all souls do not depart from the body in the same way. they hold that there are 7 great plexi governing other minor ones. These represent channels through which influences are received or given. Each of these channels has its own direct relation to one of the 7 divisions of the system, thus showing man to have the possibility of conscious relation with all the divisions. From this it would follow that the predominating idea of any one life would necessitate departure through some particular channel leading to its own appropriate realm of freedom or bondage. Thus man binds himself or frees himself by reason of his spiritual power and his connection with every department and division of great nature. Krishna concludes the chapter by saying, "The man of meditation who knoweth all this reaches beyond whatever rewards are promised in the Vedas, or that result from sacrifices, or austerities, or from gifts of charity, and goeth to the Supreme, the highest place." The highest place is sometimes called all-knowingness, the perfection of knowledge, the possession of which confers power of action upon any or all departments of manifested nature. To reach this highest place, the highest motive must prevail in all thought and action, perhaps through many lives. The idea of this highest motive may be best conveyed by considering the following ancient pledge. Quote, "Never will I seek nor receive private individual salvation. Never will I enter into final peace alone, but forever and everywhere will I live and strive for the redemption of every creature throughout the world."